think we're live. I think we're live. We are. All right. Hey, everybody. My name is Luke. Welcome to this live class. I'll just talk about what we're going to talk about, and then we can get into it. So, I am an English teacher from the United States, and I will be talking today about some things, including learning English from music. I'll be talking about how to use the relative clause, a particular type of grammar. Sounds boring, and depending on who you are, it might be or it might not be. Might be great, might be exciting. Who knows? And we'll also be talking about the word likewise. And then I'm going to be answering also English questions. So if you guys didn't make it, we're doing the class at a little bit of a strange time compared to what we usually do. But if you guys have questions to ask, I'll be answering the questions you have as well. And next time, don't forget to check in for the live classes, and don't forget to join. I think we're all set. I'm just making sure that we're live here. Give me a second. You know what? Let me quickly post this to Facebook. I'm gonna quickly post this to Facebook. If you guys would like to, you can. Hey, Casey Master is here. You're welcome to join the Facebook group. We have a Facebook group which is in the description. It's at the bottom. You have to scroll down, scroll, and you can find the Facebook group. We have a group where I share clips from these live classes and also other stuff. And other people sometimes ask questions there. Mostly it's me sharing stuff. I wish people asked more questions in the Facebook group, but whatever. Hey, Lolly Lolly's here as well. Wow, it's probably pretty late for you over there, Lolly Lolly, huh? Late night. Sorry I'm a little late today, but I'm here. I'm here. Just quickly posting this on Facebook. Med Adam Ouaslati? Tunisia. That's cool. Very good. From Tunisia. Awesome. If you guys haven't already, make sure you hit the like button. I know it seems like a small thing to ask and probably super annoying when I ask it, but if you do, basically it helps tell the YouTube algorithm, hey, live class happening, check it out. So it helps. And also check out my links in the courses or in the description. Those are courses that you can check out as well. And those are for different areas of English pronunciation and so on. We're going to get started in a second. Casey Master says, who's Lolly Lolly? Well, Lolly Lolly is sort of the most ubiquitous person in the chat. I don't know. Lolly Lolly just always seems to be here. Maybe she doesn't sleep. I have two theories going on Lolly Lolly. Theory number one is that Lolly Lolly is a very advanced YouTube bot. Bot is a special sort of program that runs, and sometimes there are these bots. They'll just post comments all over the place that might have different purposes to get information or to maybe advertise things, right? So I have a theory that Lolly Lolly is a super advanced, very realistic bot, or just doesn't sleep very often. Those are my two theories. One of those two things is probably true. And if Lolly Lolly is a bot, well, that's amazing coding. I'm very impressed with the level of realism, because Lolly Lolly has even done super chats in the past. Wow, a bot that does super chats. What are you getting out of it, bot? Huh? No, I don't actually think Lolly Lolly is a bot, guys. I mean, maybe there's a 2% chance. This is a very small chance. A very small chance. Okay, I think we're all set here. Yes, 9:30 p.m. in France. Okay. Lolly Lolly, can you just be honest with all of us? Are you a very advanced YouTube bot? Oh, both. Lolly Lolly says she's both. Okay. Karina Lugo says, hello from Spain. Hello, Karina. Hello, Karina. Good to see you. And Ahmed Mohammed from Algeria, very good. Oh, we have people here. You know, I'm kind of surprised because we don't usually do the live class at 4 p.m. my time, but we are now. Quite frankly, I but I'm recovering from a very serious cold of some kind. Don't worry, guys. It's not that illness that's going around. It's not that. It's what started as a sore throat that went away. Then I got kind of a stuffy head, runny nose. But now I'm okay. Do you guys know how to talk about symptoms? Different symptoms for a cold and different things? I could talk about that if you like. So basically, we're going to go through 3 topics today. We have 3 topics, okay? But I will also be talking about your questions, so I will depend on you guys coming up with interesting questions, and I will then speak about those and answer those questions, and we can go for a while, maybe an hour and a half. I mean, I don't know. I don't have that much to do this afternoon, so just working on courses. I'm planning on getting 9 courses out this year, and it's a big project. I thought it was going to be a smaller project. It turns out it's not a small project. It's a huge project. So I've finished 11 so far. I have 11 courses that are done, completed, finished on different platforms like Skillshare and Udemy. They're the same courses, by the way. And now this new project, I thought it was going to be a few months of work, but it's going to be more like probably 11 months of work, of constant work. So that's what I'm working on pretty much every day, in addition to my other job. So I don't know how many of you know this. I'm also the co-founder of a language company called Yoli. So I don't know if you've seen that on my page anywhere. It's not related to the courses that I do and not related to my YouTube videos. Honestly, not related. That's related to Cloud English, okay? See this shirt? If anyone wants one of these hoodies, by the way, let me know. I can get you one. It's a Cloud English hoodie. Cloud English is just me, YouTube, and courses. Okay. But then there's another one called Udemy. Yoli. And Udemy is also me. Yoli is an on-demand language learning platform. Sort of like Uber for language learning. You can have a one-to-one class with a teacher. The class is 20 minutes long, and that takes place on demand whenever you want it. So you tap, go, and then you take the class with the teacher. That's how, oh my God, a super chat from Lolly Lolly. Thanks a million. Wow. Much appreciated. Awesome. Cool beans. Super chat from Lolly Lolly. Wonderful. That makes me feel good. I'm going to use it to buy cold medicine. So I've been doing that for a long time. On that project, I'm in charge of training teachers, managing teachers, and also in charge of the curriculum, making sure that we have the curriculum in the classes. So if you ever take a Yoli class, it's likely that the content of the class was written by myself. Okay. Now, some of you guys, I know because some of you have added me, are on HelloTalk. Okay, HelloTalk is an app where you can find a language learning partner. I've recommended them in past videos. It's a language learning, sort of a language learning community, okay? So HelloTalk allows you to find language partners and talk with people in another language. They also have other offerings, such as group classes. So it's a weekly group class, and everyone can talk in the class, and one-to-one classes. So if you take one of the one-to-one classes, actually you're taking a Yoli class, because HelloTalk is one of our partners. And if you do the group classes, I actually teach one of the group classes in HelloTalk every week, and I manage the team of teachers who do the group classes. We have 7 classes a week, basically, a class every day. So that's how it works. Yeah, HelloTalk is pretty cool. I use it. It's a good app, and we offer our classes there as well. Okay, so I guess we can get started. Guys, if you have your questions, just type them in the chat. I will get to them. I will definitely get to them. If I miss them, it's because maybe I didn't see them, so you might have to type them twice, but I will definitely get to your questions. Now, I want to start with something that I get a lot, a question I get a lot. I've talked about it a little bit in the past, but it's something that I think it's important, and I want to explain why it's important, because it kind of bothers me. Where can you get one of these shirts? It used to be in the links under the videos, but now it might not be. But I could send in a private link if you like, Casey Master. If you like these shirts, I can send a private link. This hoodie is really comfortable. It's very, very comfortable. That's why I like it. I wear it all the time just because it's not, you know how some hoodies are so thick that you feel hot in them? This one keeps you warm, but it also breathes really well, so it's not so heavy. You don't feel like you're carrying around a dead cat on your shoulders. It's very comfortable. All right, so here's what we'll do. I'm going to talk about music a little bit first, and then we'll get back to your questions, okay? One of the things that people, I think, students ask me most often, very often, is one of the most common questions I get is, hey, what songs would you recommend I use to learn English? What's the best way to use music to learn English? Now, at first, I would just like to say, I will not tell you that you cannot learn English with music, okay? I wouldn't say that. But I will say, in my opinion as an English teacher, it is not a great way to learn English, and I want to explain why, and I want to explain why movies and books are much, much better. Much better. Honestly, I don't think music is a good English learning tool at all. Not even a little bit. Again, I don't want to tell you what to do. I'm not your mom, right? You can do whatever you want to do. If you like music, that's great. I like music too. But I want to talk about why it is that it's not a great English learning tool. And there are two main reasons, okay? Number one, when you're listening to music, the melody is often moving so quickly, and the lyrics are often moving so quickly that it's hard to hear. So one is just a simple listening reason, okay? There's not much context there, and the lyrics are just flying by. So that's one basic reason. But the more important reason is that when you write music as a musician, when you write music as a musician, you're not writing English as you speak English. You're writing English as a poet. Now, a poet writes very sort of abstract sounding English, writes English so that it rhymes and fits into a certain pattern. But nobody speaks that way. And in fact, what's the point of poetry? Well, one of the characteristics of poetry is that there is an aspect of interpretation to it, right? That means when you listen to this song, you get something out of it, and I get something out of it, and what we get out of it, or what we understand the lyrics are the words of a song, what we understand the lyrics to mean are two different things. That's the nature of poetry. That's the nature of song lyrics. And that's great. That's what it's for, right? It gives me a feeling of I understand this musician, or this musician understands me. Okay, good. But is that a good English learning tool? Well, I would say no, because people don't really speak like that. And also, what you're learning, maybe good words here and there, are serving the purpose of poetry and rhyming, not serving the purpose of communicating clearly, right? When we learn English, we should learn things that help us communicate more clearly. If nobody speaks like a singer speaks or sings in a song, then why should we learn that? All right? That's really the main reason here. Okay? Music is poetry, not normal speech. That's the simple fact, okay? We're going to look at some examples here. I want to kind of prove it to you. And I don't want to tell you not to listen to music, but it would be hard to learn English from something like, for example, this. Okay, I'm losing my edge to the art school Brooklynites in little jackets and borrowed nostalgia for the unremembered 80s. Now, first of all, what the heck does this mean? I don't know. I don't know what it means. So often the meaning is buried deep inside of the lyrics because the singer, the songwriter wants you to think about it, wants you to make something of it for yourself. That's good. But when I read that, if you said that to me on the street, I would say, what are you talking about? I don't understand anything you just said. Now, we can learn some individual words from this. We might say, okay, what is a Brooklynite? Someone from Brooklyn, okay. We might say, what is a nostalgia? What is the meaning of nostalgia? Oh, it's that feeling that we get when we look back at the past and we feel warm and fuzzy inside, but also a little sad when we remember, for example, the 80s. Okay, but just this whole thing together as a song is just kind of weird, and nobody would speak like this. All right. Now, how about this one? You, one that I dream about all day. You, one that I think about always. Now, notice that there is that all day, always, all day, always. There is that rhyming there. There is sort of a rhythm that repeats itself that sounds really good in music. That's actually a good song, right? Well, I think it's a good song. It's very subjective. But I wouldn't recommend that as a thing to learn English from. I wouldn't recommend anybody speaks like that because people don't speak like that exactly. They don't speak in rhythm. They don't speak in rhyme. Okay, so that's the idea. One more. I never lived before your love. I never felt before your touch, and I never needed anyone to make me feel alive. But then again, I wasn't really living. Now, this sounds more like prose or regular writing and less like poetry. So it's getting closer, but still, it sounds very formal. It sounds like something that's in sort of older literature. It sounds like a love poem, maybe. So it's still weird, and you'd have to kind of work hard to pick out any normal English from that. Even that, which is closer toward spoken English, is still not close enough. So why would you go through all of that hard work of trying to drag meaning out of something that is sort of serving another purpose, which is to give you a feeling about something or make you feel good or understand something deeper? Why would you go through all of that hard work when you could just read a book and read dialogue in a book, right? Or when you could just watch a movie or a TV show, a documentary, and people are talking to each other. You could just do that. And if you do that, you're getting at least close to natural speech. So just do that. Okay, so again, listen to music. Music is great. Music is wonderful. Fantastic. Is it a good English learning tool? My opinion. And for the reasons I just talked about, no. So listen to it, but learn music from movies, TV shows, and books. And the people around you, if you have an English learning environment. That is my advice, okay? By the way, if you guys haven't already, make sure you hit the like button and don't forget to subscribe. Check out my courses in the links in the description. If you have any questions about this, let me know in the comments, okay? Okay. Azad, hello. Hello, everyone. Yuri's here. Wow. So, I don't know. What do you guys think? Do you guys ever try to listen to music or learn English from music? Have you ever attempted it before? Sleepwalker says, I remember somehow I saw analysis of the text on a song on YouTube, and it turned out that the text was grammatically inaccurate for rhyme. Yes, exactly. So I decided not to learn English from songs. There you go. You can, because poetry breaks all sorts of rules, right? Poetry doesn't have to follow prose rules. That means normal writing rules. Poetry can break all kinds of rules for the purpose of sounding good, sounding interesting, sounding pleasing, right? All kinds of rules can be broken and are broken. So if you wanted to put together a sentence structure or you're trying to learn grammar from a song, good luck. Good luck to you. Also, music doesn't have that many sentences in it, right? Not really. So, that's usually my answer when people say, "Hey, should I learn music from or learn?" Why do I keep saying that? Should I learn English from music? My cold is making me confused. Should I learn English from music? No. What does this and whatnot mean? This, that, and whatnot. Well, that's actually not a common phrase. But whatnot is useful. Okay, so good question from Yuri. What does this, that, and whatnot mean? Now, this is interesting, but I wouldn't like to learn this as a whole phrase. I would like to break it into two pieces. The first piece is this and that. The second piece is whatnot. To be honest, I have not seen, as Yuri has written here, I have not seen both of these together, this and that, and whatnot. Maybe it is. I don't know. But let's talk about these two separately. Okay, so if someone says this and that, it sort of means anything. Just grab some of this and that. Okay? It's not specifically saying two things. It's not specifically saying any certain thing. It's sort of just saying something, anything, but probably more than one, right? Probably more than one. Now, I suppose you could say, actually pointing at something, please get this, pointing at this thing, maybe a box of cookies, and that, pointing at maybe a bowl of fruit. I don't know why. Okay, we need cookies and fruit. We need them now. This and that, but we would separate it out like that. We would say this one and this box and that bowl of fruit there. We would say both of them kind of separately. If we say it more quickly, just get some of this and that, get some of this and that, or whatever, this and that. Just take this and that around, whatever it is. Then it's a phrase together and it sort of means anything. Anything. Okay. Whatnot is a word which means whatever, but it's added to other things, right? So we might be a little more specific with the first and the second or third or fourth or fifth thing, and then say and whatnot, right? Just to say there might be things that I haven't included. There might be things that I haven't said, right? So in this live class, we're going to talk about music and English. We're going to talk about how to use the relative clause and whatnot. So that's a thing to add to say sort of whatever else we happen to talk about, miscellaneous things. That's really what it means. If you use whatnot, it sort of means miscellaneous other things. Often it is added after we've already mentioned other specific things. Now you could say this and that and whatnot. All right, I suppose so. But this and that is already used for miscellaneous stuff. Often it's used, right? We just took some of this and that to mean unspecific things or unspecified things, right? So saying this and that and whatnot is very unspecific. And maybe someone wants to say that. Well, that's fine. That's okay, I guess. But they're not often put together. But whatnot is very common. Whatnot is very, very common. When we talk about topics we're talking about, when we talk about what we're learning, what we're going to do. Yesterday at the park, what did we do at the park? Oh, we threw Frisbee around, we played with Kimberly's dog, and whatnot. That means we did some other stuff too, but it's almost too unspecific to say what it was. Maybe I don't even know how to name the stuff that we did because it wasn't like an activity that we did, if that makes sense. So hopefully that's clear. I hope that answers your question, Yuri. All right. Yeah, good question, though. Whatnot is more common than this and that. Actually, music was one of the reasons why I started to learn English. Metallica was one of those bands that you really wanted to understand. Okay. And, yeah, I mean, learning the words from Metallica might be useful. I mean, I had a friend who he got interested in English through a card game called Magic the Gathering, and that was his sort of window into the language. So anything can be a window into the language. Music, card games, video games, whatever. Anything can be a window into the language. That doesn't mean that that window is the best language learning tool, though, right? That window into the language might be a good way to have energy around language, around English. That's great. That's actually really good. But doesn't mean that it's a good tool. Is Magic the Gathering a good English learning tool? No, not at all. No, it's a great window. If you like that, it brings you into the language. But you're learning words like blargen, slimarken, blargen, you're made up words that are magical creatures, you know. So, not a great tool that I would recommend as an English teacher, nor is music. Yeah. I like reading, but I have no idea about books that are easy to understand. Can you please suggest some books? It depends on what you like, but hold on a second. Let me grab a couple things, okay? Give me a second. This, and this, and this, and this, and this. Okay. All right. So let me try to seriously answer your question. Now, I do have another video about this. Actually, there's a better video about this you can look in the video archive. You can check it out on YouTube. But see what I can do. Now, one of the books that I recommended in that video, I can recommend still today because, number one, it's classic literature, but it's also simple enough to understand, and there's some modern language in it. It's good. Okay, so yeah, a few books. Let me say one thing about books first. Actually, let me pop your question up here. I like reading, but I have no idea about books that are easy to understand. Can you please suggest some books? So first, you have to decide what you like to read, because if you hate reading, it's going to be very difficult for you to continue, to persist. And that's really the first mountain you have to climb, to find the thing that doesn't make you hate it. That seems like a simple thing, but it's not that simple. What are you interested in? Are you interested in fiction? Are you interested in nonfiction? That's probably the first question to answer. If you're interested in fiction, what sort of fiction do you like? Right? Find a category that you like. Find what you like to read in your language and try to read that in English. Maybe you like historical fiction. Historical fiction is fiction which is not real, but based on something that's close to real in the past. So maybe something that happened 100 years ago to the President of the United States. But there's a character in that which is not real. It's a fictional character happening in a historical context. Maybe you like that. Maybe you like books about business. You like to learn about how to be a leader, leadership, right? Well, that's great too. Now, if you like books about business or leadership or personal development, there's one I can suggest. It's actually in the other room. I don't want to go get it right now, but I could, and I can show you how simple it is. But basically, this book is called How to Win Friends and Influence People. Now, it's good because it's not that hard to read. It's good because it's nonfiction, which means it's generally simpler and less artsy, we could say, less complex in its writing style, in its style than maybe a fictional book. And it's actually very useful. It can teach you how to interact with people naturally and how to make other people feel comfortable around you. So the book is called How to Win Friends and Influence People. It's not that hard to read, and it's a very good book. It's a classic. It's an amazing book. So I can really strongly recommend that if you like nonfiction books about self-improvement, about especially business, but that's not really formal business. That's more like business between people, or building relationships between people, or making other people trust you. So it's a good book. Now, for fiction, I can recommend this one if you like sort of serious classic fiction. This one is called The Old Man and the Sea by Ernest Hemingway. Now, it's not that hard to understand. "Come on," the old man said aloud. "Make another turn. Just smell them. Aren't they lovely? Eat them good now. And then there's the tuna." Okay, that's not that hard, right? You guys can probably understand most of that. It's not that difficult. Okay. So another one that I really like is called The $100 Startup. The $100 Startup. $100 Startup. This is a great book for also self-improvement. It's not that hard to read. It's pretty simple, and it's about anyone. It's about how to, if you're someone who wants to build your own business or make an income on the side or something like that, how to do that, basically. It's about how to start your own thing and how to do your own thing. And it's really useful, and it's not that hard to learn. And I've read this book probably 3 or 4 times. I really like it, and I would strongly recommend checking this one out. The $100 Startup. So for nonfiction, we've got How to Win Friends and Influence People, the $100 Startup, which is good, and one more nonfiction book I can recommend. These are just books I have, which I like. If you're interested in more the science area, maybe you don't like books about personal development, books about business. Okay, whatever. How about this? How about this? This is a book by Neil deGrasse Tyson called Astrophysics for People in a Hurry. Now, you might see, astrophysics? What? No, not me. I can't do it. But if you're interested in that kind of topic, some people like to learn about the universe and stars and planets. It's actually not that hard to read. It's written as a story. It's fairly simple, right? The metal Mercury, liquid and runny at room temperature, and the planet Mercury, the fastest of all the planets in the solar system, are both named for the speedy Roman messenger god of the same name. Is that difficult to understand? No, I don't think so. Now, that's the kind of interesting thing. People think that books that are fiction are probably easier than books that are nonfiction. That's generally not true. Actually, nonfiction books written for a broad audience, like the books I've mentioned so far, are better for English language learners like you guys because they're written for a broad audience, and they're written to be understood, and they're just conveying information to you. They're not trying to create a style and a mood, like maybe a story, right? The Old Man and the Sea is creating a mood, and the characters might have different dialects, and you have to describe them in more complex ways. Okay, so I would really recommend nonfiction if you like that. If you don't like it, okay, pick up The Old Man and the Sea. And of course, Harry Potter is a classic. I always recommend Harry Potter because it's written at a level that most of you guys can understand. It's good, it's entertaining, and I would say there's enough of it so that you can sort of get into it, right? Because that's another important factor. If you're not into it, if you don't like it, if you get bored, then what's the point of reading, right? But if you really get into it, if you like Harry Potter and you want to read it every day and you read it for an hour a day, how quickly will your ability to pick up new words be, right? How fast will you be able to pick up new sentence structures, new grammar patterns? Pretty quickly. So I can definitely recommend Harry Potter as well. Now let's contrast this with hardcore philosophy, just to give you a sense of what it sounds like when we have very complex language. Let's see. I've got a book here by a philosopher named Heidegger, and let's see if we can find a complex sentence. Well, actually, this is just a sentence about Heidegger. It's not even Heidegger. Heidegger is more difficult. Heidegger's unusual deployment of the word as a noun confronts the German reader with the etymological structure of the word da, is German for there. Sein is German for being, whereas the philosophy traditionally speaks in terms of immaterial substances of soul and subjectivity. Okay, so that's obviously much more difficult, right? That's going to be harder for you guys. So I wouldn't recommend philosophy and that kind of stuff. It gets very complicated, and it's definitely hard to read. That was my major in university, so trust me, it's hard to read. I still think it's hard to read, and I studied it in university. So first ask yourself, what do I like? Fiction, nonfiction. Then ask yourself, which kind of fiction do I like? Which kind of nonfiction then do I like? And pick something that's exciting to you. And if you want to ask me, hey, is this a good book? Ask me. Join the Facebook group and ask me there, or in a comment on YouTube, that's fine too. So ask me, I would be more than happy to check it out and see if it's good for English language learners. Yeah, that's it. By the way, if you haven't already, make sure you hit the like button. I would appreciate that. Don't forget to subscribe, and also check out my courses in the links in the description. And if you have any questions about this, you want to check a book with me, please do in the comments. Don't hesitate. I would be more than happy to give you additional advice on this. Okay. Gertrude says, hey, I want to say sorry because the last live stream I was so excited about Manhattan. Sorry again. Why are you being sorry, Gertie? You don't need to be sorry about anything. You have nothing to be sorry about. I would say you have nothing to be sorry about. Yeah, that other book is really good. How to Win Friends and Influence People. I wish I had it in the room with me, but I don't. It's actually my wife's copy. I listen to mostly audiobooks, actually. More audiobooks than actual books. I mean, this is... I only have this one, How to Win... no, this one is Neil deGrasse Tyson's one, the one about space. The only reason I have this one is that I got it as a gift because it's signed. You can see Neil Tyson, the scientist, has signed it. But otherwise, I tend to buy audiobooks. I have over, I think, 250 audiobooks that I have listened to over the last few years since I started using Audible. I really like Audible. If you guys want a free book, I can send one to your... If you haven't used Audible at all, I think I can send a free one to you. If you give me your email address, I can send it to you. And I'd be more than happy to do that. For example, How to Win Friends and Influence People. Very good as an audiobook. Yeah, I know astrophysics sounds tough, right? It's not that hard. It's not that hard. Not that hard. I mean, this is written for normal people, you know? Easy to understand. Lolly Lolly, I'm interested in history, especially ancient people. Ancient Rome, yes. So if you guys are interested in ancient people, there's one book above any other that I can recommend. And it's called Sapiens. That's what the name of the book is. Again, I have it. It's over in the other room. There's a book called Sapiens. I cannot recommend it enough for Lolly Lolly or whoever is interested in history, anthropology as a subject. Fascinating book is called Sapiens. Sapiens. There's a subtitle, sort of the history of humankind, something like that. Anyway, it's awesome. I absolutely love it. It's one of the best books ever. My American friend likes to read books which I recommend to him. He sends me quotes from these books, and we discuss them. Awesome. So now I read in English. My favorite book, which I have, is in Russian. Okay. And you also like to listen to audiobooks. Okay, that's cool. Yeah. History fiction? Okay. Okay. I don't know anything about that author. Kent, is it Follett or Follett? Unfortunately, I don't know anything about that author. You'd have to give me... I could check some titles for you if you can give me some titles. I could look into it for you. Yeah, I like to go for a walk and listen. That's my favorite. There are also, by the way, some really good courses. If you use Audible like I do, one of the things that you can get on there is great courses. So the great courses are full courses, university-level courses that are not that hard to understand on different subjects, like history. There's an awesome course on Roman history. There's another really good course on the transition between Greek history and Roman history. It covers both. It's really good. Probably, Lolly, you would enjoy that one. There's another one called, what's it called? The Other Side of History, which is focusing not on the important events in history, on the leaders and the kings and the emperors. It's focused on the individual lives of people. What was it like to be a normal person in this society throughout all of history? Really interesting. Very interesting. Yeah, but Sapiens would be the book I would strongly recommend. Sapiens. And for great courses, I was going to write these down. Oh, The Pillars of Earth. I've heard of that. Yeah, I know I've heard of that somewhere. I'll have to check that out, Gertie. The Pillars of Earth. Let me Google that really quickly. The Pillars of Earth. All right, I'm going to check that out. I've definitely heard of that. Then for the great courses, you can go with, there's one called The Story of Human Language. If you're interested in language, that one's great. Also, there is The Other Side of History. That one's awesome. And then great courses on Greek and Roman history. What is that one called? I'm trying to find the name of that other one. Yeah, it's called Greece and Rome, an Integrated History. That one's good too. Now, these are not free, obviously. If I send you the first one on Audible is free, but after that you have to pay a monthly membership. Personally speaking, and I'm not making any money from Audible for saying this, personally speaking, I would give up breakfast before I would give up my Audible membership, because it is food, Knowledge is food, whether it's fiction or nonfiction. It's a very important thing to me. I love reading, and I'm in a book club. I've been going to a book club recently. Every week I go to a book club. We talk about Carl Jung, who is a Swiss psychotherapist and philosopher. Why does the British accent sound so sexy? Well, that's just your opinion. So I can say I don't know. I don't know why. Have I read any Russian writers? Yeah, I've read Dostoevsky is a great writer. I've read a lot of his work. Notes from the Underground, The Brothers Karamazov, and did I read the other one as well? Brothers Karamazov, Notes from the Underground, and I think that's all I've read from him. But yeah, those are really good. There are a lot of great Russian writers, for sure. All right. Well, I want to talk a little bit about a really useful word that is useful in some cases, and the word is the word likewise. So if you guys have any other questions, just put them in the chat, and we'll get back to them for sure. Okay. I do want to go over one other topic, if that's all right with you guys. Actually, I have two more, but let's see. List of books by Dostoevsky. Crime and Punishment. I did read Crime and Punishment a long time ago. Yes, that's right. I forgot that he wrote Crime and Punishment. So I read Notes from the Underground, Crime and Punishment, and The Brothers Karamazov. That one is really good. The Brothers Karamazov is good. Something very dark and depressing about his work, but it's amazing. Tolstoy, I think I read a story by Tolstoy in college, but I haven't read enough Tolstoy for sure. I will certainly check that out. You have a 6-hour daily commute, and you use time to listen to audiobooks and audio courses. A 6-hour commute? What? That is unbelievable. How do you have a 6-hour commute? How is that possible? I've never heard. That's insane. That's insane. How do you do that every day? How long have you been doing that 6-hour commute? Why is it worth it to you? And I mean, I guess that's cool that you have something to do, but I'm really impressed. Anna Karenina. Yeah, okay. I haven't read that one, but I've heard a lot about it. Anna Karenina. Okay. I cannot imagine a 6-hour commute. You guys know how long my commute is every day? My commute every day is 30 seconds. From the bedroom to the living room, from the living room to my office in my house. Because I work at home. Sometimes I do go out. Sorry, guys, I got... This cold hasn't left me yet. It's still here a little bit. So for the last 12 years, you've had a 6-hour commute. You could probably get a part-time job and do the part-time job during the commute. You'd have enough time to do the part-time job during the commute. That's incredible. It's the longest commute I've ever heard in my whole life. Crazy. Cool. I admire you for it, for being able to do that for 12 years. Very impressive. Okay. So, I want to talk a bit about... What do I want to talk about? What do I want to talk about? I want to talk about... Oh, you read Carl Jung when you were in... Ah, cool. Yeah, so I'm in a Carl Jung book club. I'll grab a Carl Jung here. Let me grab this one. So, I'm not recommending this, by the way, guys. Not recommending. Too difficult. So, Modern Man in Search of a Soul. This is the one that we're reading in my book club. We meet every Saturday at a hotel lobby area. It's a sort of a place to sit. Modern Man in Search of a Soul. And then there's also Answers to Job. I really love Carl Jung's work, and I'm really enjoying it. And the book club is one of my favorite parts of the week. Besides this, obviously, doing the live classes and also my book club. 2 awesome things I do. Thanks for my friend Med Adam to bring here watching your stream. It's really worth it. Keep doing that. Oh, thank you very much. I appreciate that. I appreciate it. Yeah, I'm not recommending Carl Jung, though, guys. It's kind of complex. It's kind of hard to read. You got to think about every sentence. It's not fun. It's not fun in the same sense of, Harry Potter being fun or something like that. Okay. So, I want to talk a little bit about the word likewise. Now, the word likewise is really interesting because it is probably the closest word I know to a ping pong paddle. Okay? So sometimes somebody says something and you want to return it to them. One way to return it to them, like a ping pong ball, is to use the word likewise. You can use it in lots of situations, but I will say it is not formal for everyone. Rather, it is not that common for everyone, because it sounds a little bit formal sometimes, okay? So we'll talk about when we can use it and perhaps when we should not use it, but I think it is a very useful word. We're also going to talk about a few variations or a few words that we can use, a few phrases that we can use that are similar, that serve the same function, that might sound a little bit more casual, a little bit more relaxed, okay? Personally, I like to use it. There are some people who would say, "Oh, I don't like to use it. It's too formal for me. It doesn't fit." That's fine. Not everybody uses all the same words. I like to say it because if someone says something to me and I want to return the thing that they said, as if to say, I would like to say the same thing to you, but I don't want to repeat it, then I can say, likewise. Likewise. And that's really what it is. If someone gives you a compliment, "Oh, your shoes are really cool," right? You can say, "Oh yeah, likewise." You've hit the ping pong ball back to them, okay? That's the function that it serves. You don't have to repeat the same thing. "I like your shoes as well," right? That's a little bit odd if you say, "I like your shoes as well." "Oh, I like your shoes too." Sometimes you want to return the thing back that was said, like a ping pong ball. So likewise does that. And again, we will talk about those variations. So someone says, nice to meet you. You can simply say, likewise. Now you can say, you too, but likewise is very polite. Some people would say it's a little formal. I think in this situation, it's very common, very nice. Someone says, oh, it's really nice to meet you after being introduced by someone else. Yeah, likewise. 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 That means it's nice to meet you too. Now, can you say it's nice to meet you too? You can say it's nice to meet you too, but often saying exactly what the other person said sounds a little weird, right? And so likewise serves that function, serves that purpose. Now, I want to be clear that I'm not saying everyone should use this all the time. Just want to say it is interesting, this word, because it serves this useful purpose. Okay, let's look at another example here. I like your shoes. Likewise. That means I like your shoes too. Now, this is starting to feel like it's only for positive things. Can we only say this when we want to say something nice? Is that the only way to use it? And the answer is no. What about this? I'm exhausted. That's kind of a negative thing. Yeah, likewise. Yeah, likewise. That means, yes, I too am exhausted. I am also exhausted. I feel the same way as you. Yes, I am exhausted too. Yeah, likewise. Or if we want to say this more casually, we can say, same here. So if you don't want to say likewise, if you feel like likewise is a little too formal for you, if it feels like, it just doesn't fit me, then maybe you can say, same here. Now, can we use that in all situations? Like someone says, oh, it's nice to meet you. Same here. If you say same here when you're meeting someone, it might sound a little dismissive, like, same here. It sounds a little bit like you're not that interested in meeting them. You don't care about meeting them, right? Likewise is definitely better for meeting someone. But when it comes to sharing a feeling, an impression, an opinion, then likewise can be very useful, very useful. If you like something, if you think something, if you feel something, someone says it, likewise, likewise. But again, same here works too if you want to be a little bit less formal. Okay, now what about this? I can't eat another bite. Someone is very full. We've just had dinner, right? We've just eaten dinner together. Someone says, oh, I'm stuffed. I can't eat another bite. By the way, we say stuffed. I can't eat another bite. We could say me neither. Now, we say me neither, not me too here, because we've said can't. If we say I am so full, then we would say me too. But because we used a negative, I can't eat another bite, then we should say me neither. Whenever we focus on negatives and we want to say me too about a negative, we say me neither. If we want to say also, I also feel that way, or I also have that opinion, then we say me too. Or, in this case, yeah, likewise. I can't eat another bite. Likewise. Me too, in this case. All we're doing is returning the same thing. So kind of visualize it. Imagine that the person has made a comment, thrown it at you like a ping pong ball, and you just want to hit it back, and it's an easy way to do that. This one word serves this useful function. It can be used in lots of different situations. Be aware that it can come across as more formal, that you may want to use the variations like same here, and me too, and me neither, and I'm the same way, or I feel the same way. These variations might fit you better, but at least you have to know this. And I would recommend if you're meeting someone face-to-face for the first time, you should use likewise instead of using same here. Yeah, same here. It almost makes it seem like I'm too cool to be nice to you. That's not very nice, right? Okay, so that's it. If you have any questions about this, let me know in the comments. And don't forget to hit the like button if you haven't already. Hit subscribe. Check out my courses in the links in the description. All right. Got this big pile of books here. Makes me want to read. My favorite thing to do is when I walk and listen, I kind of remember things better. When I'm listening to something, I'm walking around, the things that I'm reading stick better if I'm walking because they sort of print themselves onto the surroundings. So whenever I walk through that area again, I can remember almost every single word of what I listened to, right? When I walk through that area, I remember what I heard. sort of like VR audio being printed on the surroundings. It's weird how it works like that, but it really does. It's kind of cool. It's kind of cool. Okay, let me see if I missed any of your questions. Thanks for hitting the like button, guys. I really appreciate that. That's awesome. Very appreciated. Probably I'll move here. Gertie, where will you move? You're moving to Russia? Where are you going to move? Okay, so Lolly Lolly says, this is a good question. Do you think coronavirus will have serious economic repercussions in the world? Well, I would say that it already has serious economic repercussions. Now, repercussions just means basically the consequences of a thing that spread out, either geographically or in terms of the effects generally among people. So we saw the coronavirus spread in China. And what happened in China as it started to spread? Well, especially when people started quarantining themselves, they stayed inside and they wanted to prevent any chance of being infected, right? So what did they do? They changed a lot about their behavior. And I say this as someone who knows a lot of Chinese people. I have a lot of Chinese friends, and next week I have a video coming out basically sharing the experiences of people in China who are self-quarantined. I'm going to be sharing that this week, actually. So essentially, when you're in that state of not wanting to get infected, of being self-quarantined or locked in your house by yourself, you're not going to go to any restaurants. You're not going to go out with friends to a shopping center. You're not going to go shopping for anything you don't need. In fact, you might get things delivered to your community and just pick them up, right? Trying to contact as few people as possible or be in contact with as few people as possible. And as a result of this, we've seen, and I've heard this number, hundreds of billions of dollars essentially being sucked out of the economy as a result or being lost because of this. Basically, what that means is because nobody's going to restaurants, that's a huge amount of lost business for those restaurants. Those businesses are losing money. Many of them are closing down. And that has a major effect on the economy because then they're not spending money on anything. If they're closing down, they can't pay their rent to whoever owns maybe their store or whoever owns the place where they rent. And so then that money is not moving around the economy. It's not circulating in the economy. And that's causing major problems in China. Now, if there are major problems in China, there are going to be major problems around the world. Because if there are no people buying things and those things are not being sent to China as often, that's going to affect manufacturers in other countries. But more importantly, if there are fewer people going to work, going to their jobs, working in factories, then the output of China is going to be lower as well, right? Not as many products are going to be sent out, so trade will be affected. But then there's also the psychological impact as the virus is spreading around the world, and there are 60, 70, 80 countries affected by the coronavirus. Now people are saying to themselves, do I really want to go to that international conference? Do I really want to travel to another country right now? Do I really want to do anything extra that could give me any risk whatsoever? These decisions that individuals are making are spreading, and as they spread around the world, it's going to have a major impact on the travel industry, a major impact on international business relationships, because, for example, international conferences are being closed, or canceled. Large events that happen yearly, like South by Southwest, apparently are going to be completely canceled because nobody wants to be around that many people at the same time. The individual decisions people make, especially if they're decisions based on fear, have a local effect on the buying decisions they make. We saw that in China, people not going to restaurants. And as a result, those businesses in many different industries seriously suffer. Now, I can give you one example personally. I heard that there was a case of coronavirus. Someone who was an Uber driver got infected. Now, as soon as I heard that an Uber driver got infected, and that Uber driver was infected in Queens, which is where I live, my first thought was, what if I had been in that? Maybe I was in that. I took an Uber yesterday. The chance of that happening is very small. But now, do you think I'm going to take an Uber unless I really, really, really need to? No. Usually I just take an Uber whenever. I just take an Uber. Now I'm thinking, oh yeah, maybe I shouldn't take an Uber. I don't know about this. So people will be taking Ubers less. And now Uber is a business, is going to suffer. And the drivers will suffer because they'll be having fewer passengers. Everybody starts to suffer as the economy starts to change as a result of this. And that causes the markets to get worse and worse. And we can see that. The markets, if you look at the numbers, the stock market is going down constantly. It's really bad. It's really bad. And we don't know how low it's going to go. So I'm not trying to scare anybody, but I'm saying people's decisions about buying change as soon as they feel afraid and when there are risks involved. And I'm included. I probably won't take an Uber unless I absolutely have to. So my advice is be natural, but protect yourself. And if you hear something about somewhere that's not safe or you shouldn't go, then maybe don't go there. And if that affects the economy, it's not your fault, right? You're just trying to keep yourself safe. And I think we'll all get over it, but there are going to be some major effects around the world for probably the next few years, if not longer. I really think that. We'll see. We will see what it looks like in a year or two, but I think it's going to have many repercussions that are negative, but maybe some positive repercussions. I was talking with a friend about the possibility of maybe technologies that allow people to work more smoothly at home being adopted more quickly. People are working at home remotely more often, right? That means they can connect with their colleagues online and work online from home. Well, if they can do that more efficiently, if more companies adopt that technology, then those technologies may advance more quickly. And other technologies that might help to avoid some of these economic disasters may develop more quickly, may be adopted more quickly. So that we could call maybe a silver lining. But other than that, it doesn't look good. It doesn't look good. Sleepwalker, situation is getting worse in France. Now we have, let me search the cases. Coronavirus cases in New York. Okay, 3 additional cases confirmed today. Oh, that's wonderful. That's wonderful. Oh, how many cases are there? I'm trying to find the cases. Coronavirus level. Italy extends red zone to entire country. Wow, I can't find the New York City cases. New York City cases. Oh, I'll check it later. But I know it's definitely a lot. It's definitely a lot. New Jersey has a case now. New Jersey now has 11 cases. Governor Cuomo said schools will be closed for at least 24 hours. Oh, that's another thing. Schools closing. Yeah, that's going to be a big effect. When that happened in China, that was the big one. Schools closing. So now New York, some of the schools are apparently closing. Wow. Okay. They can't get still haven't found a number, but they're going to be doing tests in New York, so that's good. That's good. Nassau County has confirmed 17 cases. Wow, this is close to me, guys. There are a lot of cases really close to where I am. Really close. That's crazy. Here it is. The number confirmed cases in New York has grown to 142. New York has 142 cases. There you go. That's nice. Not really. Should I study grammar in particular? Well, that's what I'm going to talk about next is grammar. If I often do grammar mistakes when I speak English, what should I do? Okay, that's a good question. So when you say grammar mistakes, Nectar, do you mean you know when you make the mistakes, or you don't know what the mistake is? You don't know what the mistake is, or you know what it is and you make it anyway? That's a very important difference. Oh, coffee is the best. Nothing is better than coffee. Lolly lolly. Only today I saw that in France it's already difficult to buy medical masks in the pharmacy. They are sold out. Yeah, they're sold out here in America too, I believe. Yeah, think about the changes in people's behavior. You know, people are gonna, for example, in China, the way that people eat will probably change. You have a hot pot in the middle. People grab food from the middle. I think people probably won't do that as much anymore. Okay, so you know what? I'm going to answer this question first because this is a pretty simple one. And then we'll talk about grammar. What's the difference between consequence and subsequent? Do you mean subsequence or subsequent? Because subsequent is a common word, but not subsequence. I've never used that one before. It is a word, but I've never used it in my life. Okay. So let's say consequence and subsequent. Can we say that? So a consequence is simply the result of some other thing. Maybe it's someone's actions. What happened because of someone's actions? Well, because you decided not to pick up your daughter from school because you were working late, then another parent had to bring your daughter home from school, and now she's upset at you and thinks you're a bad parent. That's the consequence. Now, that might be an emotional consequence, but it's still a consequence. Why would we use consequence instead of result? Well, often when we say result, we're focusing on some very clearly defined thing. We do a test, we get the results, right? Is it positive or negative? Medical test, blood test, right? Do I have this disease or not? It's negative. Oh, that's good. Negative means you don't have it. Oh, good, good. That's the result. Very clearly defined, right? Very clearly defined. It's a yes or it's a no. Or the number we got after doing all these tests is 11. Oh, 11. That's a result. So often when we talk about results, we're talking about exam scores, we're talking about yeses or nos, we're talking about specific numbers. Often. Not always, but often. Clear results. You could say, the result was 2. Not always like that, but that's the idea. That's how it's usually used. Consequences are harder to define. We wouldn't say, what is the consequence of the result? Or what is the consequence of the test? I don't know quite how to talk about it, but we're talking more about the impact of it, more broadly, in a way that we can't define quite as well. So when we're talking about the daughter's emotions because she didn't show up to school, the parent didn't show up to school to pick up her daughter to take her home, and another parent had to take her home, and she was worried for 20 minutes that her mother might have had something happen to her. You know, she was stressed about it. And then she got home and she saw her mother was there and she felt a little angry. That sort of stuff is hard to define, hard to say, oh, it's this. So these sorts of things are more consequences. We focus on the general effects of things that happen, of people's actions, right? Could be things that happen. For example, what are the consequences of the coronavirus outbreak? Well, the consequences might be economic. Now, that's very hard to define. We could give specific numbers, and we could say that those specific numbers are consequences. But we could also talk about people's feelings, people's emotions, their changes in behavior, right? Those are also consequences. But it's broader than just saying the results. If we do a specific test, we get the results. Consequences in this case is more like effects, right? And sometimes impact. The impact is when something happens. We talk about what is the basic thing that happens after the thing happens, right? What happens because of that thing? That's the impact. That can be the same as consequences as well in some cases, okay? One consequence, the consequence of this is when we want to say as clearly as we can one of those things. Now your daughter is angry at you because you didn't pick her up from school. That is the consequence of this. Okay, you can talk about it like that, but we often speak broadly in this way as consequences. We speak broadly about what happened using the uncountable form, or rather the plural form, but we don't talk about any specific one, usually. Okay, now what about subsequent? Now usually we use the word subsequent, not subsequence. I've never used the word subsequence in my entire life, but subsequent just means the thing that happened next, okay? That doesn't have to be a consequence. It could just be the next thing that happened, right? So we could say, for example, the subsequent firing of Kathy resulted in maybe a negative impact on morale across the company, okay? So subsequent means something happened. She made a mistake. Then she was fired. Now, in this case, it is the result of her mistake that she's fired, but it doesn't have to be, just in this example. And then because of that, there are some other consequences. Maybe there's a negative effect on morale across the staff. Okay. So the thing happened, there was a mistake, and then the subsequent firing of this person had another effect or another consequence or other consequences generally. Okay. It's the thing that happens next, the thing that happens next, okay? Now, sometimes we use subsequently in a very formal way to say, and as a result of that, sometimes we say that. Because of that, sometimes. Subsequently, I feel that we should probably stay indoors for the rest of the year, right? Yeah, it's not really something that generally we use and we need to learn. But subsequent, the next thing that happened, is much more common. But consequence and consequences, even more common, very common. It sounds formal, but it's actually extremely useful, and anybody can use it, I think. Not that formal in all situations. You can use it generally to talk about the effects of a thing that happens. Hope that's clear. Okay, hope that makes sense. Don't forget to hit the like button, guys, if you haven't already, and don't forget to subscribe as well if you haven't already. Okay, hope that answers your question. I want to talk about grammar because no, consequence does not have to be negative. Does not. Does not. Okay, so let's talk about grammar. Should I study grammar particularly? Well, as someone who's making a grammar course, I have to say yes, right? I'm working on a very long grammar course. It's very complicated and it's difficult, but it's called English Grammar by Example. That's what it's called. That's what the course is called. So, excuse me. I think it depends on how you learn grammar, right? That's very important. So, let me pop that one up there. If I often do grammary mistakes when I speak English, what should I do? First, we should say, and maybe this is a grammar mistake, make. So let's say if I often make grammar mistakes, if I often make grammar mistakes in English, what should I do? Okay, what should you do? Well, if you know the mistake after you say it, you should try your best to self-correct in a normal situation. Now, you don't want to do that all the time. If you're in a job interview and you're always self-correcting yourself, then you look uncertain and you look sort of nervous, maybe. So you have to know when to do it and when not to do it. But if you can, try to self-correct if you know when you've made a mistake. If, for example, You use the wrong tense. I does that. Oh, I do that. Right? That's a simple correction. And you know that you should say I do, not I does. It's he does, not he do. She does, not he do. Right? Okay, so that is called subject-verb agreement. It's a very common, simple grammar mistake. When the subject, I, he, she, doesn't agree with the verb, do, does. Right? That is called subject-verb agreement. One example of English grammar. Now, most people know that. Why don't you do it? Well, the reason is because people are not often aware of it as they're speaking because they're thinking of so many other things. If you have 10,000 things on your mind, what to say, how to say it, pronunciation, putting the sentence together, it's hard to think about everything, so it's easy to make a mistake. So there you just need to slow it down, speak pretty slowly, don't try to speak too fast, and if you hear yourself say, I does, just go back and say, I do. Correct yourself, and that will help you develop the right habits. So that's one type. That's the type when you can identify which mistake you've made as you're saying it. The other type is when you don't know if you've made a mistake or not. You, in fact, don't know the right way to say it. This is a different story. And so then the question is, should you learn grammar? And the answer is yes, but it's a certain kind of yes. And it's not a yes in every situation. Should you buy a grammar book and start reading it? My opinion on that is probably no, you should not. Because the way that a lot of grammar books teach makes it really hard to understand and actually use. Okay? The best thing to do is to learn grammar by example. That means that you don't have to know what this is called. You don't have to know, for example, what a relative clause is. You don't have to know what a participle is. You don't have to know what a direct and indirect object is. You don't have to know what a transitive and intransitive verb is. You don't have to know what these things are called. You just need to know how to use them. That's why I really recommend reading and then using what you read as grammar practice. If you look at a sentence and you try to make a similar sentence with the same structure, the same basic pattern, you're practicing the grammar, even though you're not specifically learning, well, this is called this and that is called that. You're still practicing the grammar of the sentence and getting the feel for it. So to the question, should I learn grammar? My answer is, yes, you should. But you should learn it by example and not learn it by theory, not learn a bunch of explanations and names of things. You should focus more on, and it's fine if you learn those names, right, if you want to, but focus on the example part. Focus on, okay, how's this used? Can I see a sentence? Show me a sentence, right? So when I teach grammar, I always focus on the examples. I always focus on, all right, let's use this and get a feeling for it. Because you know what? Science has proven that the human brain is able to understand grammar. The human brain has a natural ability to grasp English grammar, Spanish grammar, French grammar, whatever grammar. It has that ability, especially at a younger age. And so, when you are exposed to enough of it, and you understand it, and you start to put it into practice, maybe in your writing or your speaking, you will begin to get used to it, and then you will know it. But you have to have enough exposure. You have to read. You have to practice your writing. You have to get feedback on your writing. You have to do the work. So the general advice here is increase your exposure by reading a lot and increase your output by writing more and trying to get feedback on that writing from maybe a friend, an English language partner, or whoever, if you can. And that will help you improve your grammar. My recommendation is not to buy a grammar book just because often there aren't enough examples and the focus is on the theory part, which is one, boring, and two, often more confusing. It adds complexity to it. Actually, you can get the feeling for it if you just read enough sentences. If you read 10 sentences with this grammar, you will get it. You will get it, right? Grammar is not that hard, okay? So that's my suggestion on learning grammar. More examples. Okay, good question. Make sure you guys hit the like button. Don't forget to subscribe. Check out my courses in the links in the description. If you have any questions about this stuff, Let me know in the comments. Okay. Lolly Lolly loves grammar. Oh, I hope you like my course if you take it. So, yes, this course I'm working on. Oh, guys, it's so hard. It's so hard to make, because it's hard to make because the course is called Learning English Grammar by Example. I don't know what it's going to be called. Master English Grammar by Example. Something like that. The whole thing is all about examples, many examples for every single thing. And by the time the examples are done, I want at the end of each lesson people to go, okay, God, I got it. Jeez, enough with the examples. I'm sick of the example. That's what I want people to feel in my course. Like, I understand it so well that I almost want to throw up. Right? Because that's going to make it stick, right? I try to make it funny and interesting if I can. But the name of the lesson is the grammar. So if you want to know what it's called, just look at the name of the lesson. But inside of the lesson, there isn't much mention of what it's called. And we're going to be doing that in a second. We're going to be talking about grammar in a second. I want to teach you one interesting thing about grammar and see if it's clear. Not from the course, but there will be a lesson related to the course in there. Read a lot, write a lot, try to get a comment. Yes, you're already doing that. Just keep going. Exactly. Be critical of yourself, right? You have to be very self-aware as well. Very self-aware. Thank you for your advice. I'll do it. Sometimes I try to speak fast, and I believe that's the best reason why I make mistakes. Yeah, when I talk too fast, I make mistakes too. When I talk too slowly, I make mistakes. I make mistakes all the time. Hi, Luke. Can you talk about how to reach America as an immigrant in the legal way? Shusha, I think I answered that question last week in our last live class. I believe I answered it. And in fact, if you didn't get to see the answer from last week, because I did talk about it, and I believe it was you who asked the same question, I shared my experience of going through the green card application process. There is a clip on so I have a separate channel. I'm going to share a link here, guys. Give me a second. All right. So one thing that I want to do, and I will be doing, is just because not everyone can join the live streams, I want to have, I want to be able to share the answers to your questions or the things that I prepare, something I would really like to be able to do. And so I have started a separate channel that you're welcome to subscribe to that channel if you want to, but if you don't want to, that's totally fine. I totally understand. Anyway, I have answered that question and cut it as a clip in that channel. So I'm going to send a link to that channel right now in the chat. There it is. You guys are welcome to click on that and subscribe to the channel if you like to see the clips. If you don't want to see the clips, don't subscribe. It's totally fine. I don't care. I just want to put it there for you guys if you want it. Oh, thank you so much. I appreciate that. Yeah, so actually, you know what? That clip about the green card thing is not up yet. It should be posted tomorrow or the next day, but it'll be up soon. It's easiest to remember grammar when you know the rules. But knowing the rules as a theory is not as good as knowing the examples sort of in a deeper way, right? If you can recite the rules, is it that useful? I don't know. I think it might be better to just get a feeling for it. Feel it in your heart, feel it in your bones. You gotta feel it in your bones. You gotta have it in your bones. You gotta have it in your bones. The grammar has got to be in your bones. I wish I had more coffee. I'm out of coffee. All right. So actually, why don't we talk about grammar? You're welcome, dude. I don't know, Shosha, if you're a lady or a dude, but you're welcome, dude. You're welcome, dude. Okay, shall we learn some grammar? I think we should. I think we should learn some grammar. Let's learn some grammar. Learning some grammar. All right. Let's learn some grammar. All right, guys. It's time to learn some grammar. Get ready. Prepare your brains. Turn your brains on. We're going to learn about restrictive and non-restrictive relative clauses. Now, before you stop watching, because I just said that, don't worry too much about the names of these things. It's not that important. That's just what it's called, okay? There are other names for them as well, but don't freak out because there are these complicated grammary names. Don't leave. Wait. Okay? We have to get a feeling for this by example. When we see it and we see an example, and we see two examples that are slightly different, we can say, oh, I get it. Even if you don't know what it's called. That's my point. When it comes to learning grammar, it's better to feel the difference than to be able to explain the difference with rules. Okay? So, for example, let's talk about this. Relative clauses are used to add information to things. Okay? That's what you need to know. It's a piece of grammar that adds information to something, a person or a thing, like a book or a place. Okay? We use words like who, that, which, sometimes when, sometimes where, to connect that information to the thing that we want to say something more about. Okay, don't understand yet? Don't worry. Let's look at some examples. That's what we need, right? All right. Now let's look at first this one. The barber shop that I go to is closed on Wednesdays. All right, now let's try to understand this. The barber shop that I go to is closed on Wednesdays. So we have a barber shop, which is a place to go to get your hair cut. And we have two things that we want to know about it. Number one, it's the one I go to. And number two, it's not open on Wednesdays. So we know two things about it. Notice that the that is the thing that's adding information. We're adding information by using that. Okay? And we're using the that to say which barber shop we're talking about. Because there are many barber shops. There are thousands of barber shops in each city, right? Which one? It's the one that I go to. So when we want to say which thing is this, which person is this, we use this type. And then we include it in the sentence. But if we take it out, then the sentence is confusing. This type is called the restrictive. Now, again, don't worry too much about it. If we take the that and then that information, the one that I go to, that one, if we take that out, the sentence feels confusing, okay? The barbershop on Wednesdays is closed on Wednesdays. You could say that, but it's still a little confusing. Okay, let's look at another one and compare it and sort of go back and forth and get a deeper feeling for this. My barbershop, which is just a block from here, closes on Wednesdays. My barbershop, which is just a block from here, closes on Wednesdays. Okay, now, what is the difference between these two? This one is what we call this one a non-restrictive clause, and this one is restrictive. The barbershop that I go to is closed on Wednesdays, and this one is non-restrictive. My barbershop, which is just a block from here, closes on Wednesdays. What's the difference? Now, if we take out the which is just a block from here, if we take it out, what happens? My barbershop closes on Wednesdays. Is that complete? Do we understand exactly what's going on when we say just that? My barbershop closes on Wednesdays. Yes. We know which barbershop it is, and we know that it closes on Wednesdays. It's a complete sentence. What we've done here is we've taken two sentences, and we've put one inside the other. What are the two sentences? My barbershop closes on Wednesdays, and my barbershop is just a block from here. Two sentences. My barbershop closes on Wednesdays. My barbershop is just a block from here. And we've taken one of them and removed the my barbershop and replaced it with which. Why did we replace it with which? Because The barbershop is a thing, not a person. If it's a person, we might use who. Okay. So that's what we've done with this one. It's actually pretty easy. Notice the 2 commas there. My barbershop, comma, which is just a block from here, comma. That tells us where the 2 sentences are. The first sentence is the beginning and the end. My barbershop closes on Wednesdays. The other sentence is inside of it, inside the commas, which is just a block from here. Okay. My barber would be a person, so we would say who maybe is blah, blah, blah. We'll talk about who in a second. Now this one, the barbershop is closed on Wednesdays. The barbershop is closed on Wednesdays. Now there we might have some questions. There we might say, wait a second, which barbershop? Now it is a complete grammatical sentence in this case, right? It is grammatical if we just say the barbershop is closed on Wednesdays. But people will ask after this, which barbershop are you talking about? Which one? When we said my barbershop, we know which one. It's the one you go to because you said my. So in this one, we are identifying the barbershop. Identifying the barbershop. Which one? The one that I go to. Okay. So the purpose of the that here is to identify it. This one is called the restrictive type. It has to be there because we need to identify the thing. And it is used to say which person, which thing. And the other one, you can take it out. It's fine. It's just extra information. You can put it there or not. Okay? First type, we need it. Second type, it's optional. It's optional. All right, so let's look at another example of this to really try to get this one. Okay? Really try to get it. Whom and who are different, and maybe we can talk about that in a second. But let's talk about this example here. Aunt Ruth, who lives in Iceland, used to be a famous actress. Aunt Ruth, who lives in Iceland, used to be a famous actress. Okay, now why do we have who here? This one, who, is a person. Okay, we use who for people. Okay? Aunt Ruth is the person we're talking about. Well, which Aunt Ruth? Well, obviously, if I say Aunt Ruth, it's going to be mine. So I'm identifying Aunt Ruth by saying Aunt Ruth. The identification happens by saying Aunt Ruth. It's a person's name, so we know who we're talking about. Do we have 2 sentences? Aunt Ruth used to be a famous actress. Yes, that is a sentence. Aunt Ruth lives in Iceland. Yes, that is a sentence. So we put Aunt Ruth lives in Iceland inside of the other sentence. We take off the Aunt Ruth part, and we just put who instead. Aunt Ruth, who lives in Iceland, used to be a famous actress. All we're doing is adding some bonus information, extra information to the sentence, and the information we're adding is where Aunt Ruth lives. Okay? We're saying something about her. We're adding information to her. If we take it out, the sentence is fine. It's extra information. It's bonus. We don't really need it. Now, if we look at another one, the old lady who lives in Iceland used to be a famous actress. This one looks really similar. And you might say, wait a second, this is the same thing. It is not the same thing. This one, notice, we also use who. We're talking about the person. But I'm saying the old lady, not Aunt Ruth. The old lady. So we haven't identified this person. The old lady used to be a famous actress. Now, this is a sentence. Okay, it's correct. But people will say, which old lady? Which old lady? I don't know which old lady you're talking about. Now, maybe we said it in an earlier sentence, and that's fine, whatever. But in this case, we could ask, which old lady? If we just said the old lady used to be a famous actress, the answer will be, which old lady? That one? Which one? But if we want to identify the person in the sentence, we're not adding bonus information. This is not bonus extra information that we could just take out whenever we want. No, we are using this one, notice, without the commas. Without the commas, we're using it to say which old lady we're talking about. The old lady who lives in Iceland. Okay. The old lady who lives in Iceland. Not the old lady who lives in Spain. Not the old lady who lives in Germany. It's the old lady who lives in Iceland. Okay? There are many things we could say to identify the old lady. We could say the old lady who is sitting over there in that chair. The old lady who is sitting over there in that chair, or the old lady sitting over there in that chair, used to be a famous actress. Oh, really? So we identify her. Notice that when we remove that piece, the sentence doesn't feel complete. We don't have all the information that we need, and we feel a little bit confused. And notice that it doesn't have the commas, okay? Notice that it does not have the commas. The commas tell us that it's the type of sentence where we can easily remove it and no harm is done. We still understand what's going on. Also notice that when we talk about people, we use who. We talk about things, we use that or which. That is usually used for the restrictive type, the type where we can't just take it out of the sentence without changing the meaning or ruining the sentence. That's called the restrictive type. We usually use that. We talk about which is usually used for the other type, the non-restrictive type, where we can easily just take it out, where we basically have made another sentence and stuck it inside of the first sentence. That type usually, more often, we use which, and both of them will use who. That's basically how it works. Now, whom is more when you're talking about the object. If you hear whom, to whom should we give this? Now, that sounds very formal, right? To whom, because whom is the object, not the subject. Who gave this to you? Who gave it? The person who's doing the action is called the subject, right? He did, she did, they did. To whom was it given? I know, don't stress out about that grammar. But to whom was it given is the person who got the thing. It was given to him, her, me, right? If it's the subject, we say I. If it's the object, we say me. So whom is for the object, and you'll see that in some sentences as well, instead of who. But we don't need to focus on it now. I don't want to confuse you by talking about that too much. I hope you get the basic idea. This is not that complicated, but you do have to make more examples to get a feeling for these two types of what are called relative clauses, the restrictive type, non-restrictive type. Again, don't stress about the names. The whole point is, can you use it? Do you understand it? Is it clear from the examples? If it's not, let me know in the comments. Leave a comment. I'll do my best to explain it more clearly. Don't forget to hit like, please and thank you. Subscribe, and check out my courses in the links in the description. Okay. Guys, does it make sense? Do they make sense? Do you understand the grammar? Does anyone not understand what I just explained? And do you agree that the examples are very, very important? The grammar. So I like talking about grammar, but I really like focusing on the examples. The part of the sentence between the commas is essential for identifying the subject. No, it's not. Between the commas, if it's between the commas, if it's that type, you can take it out. It's not essential. You don't need it. You don't need it. You can remove it. It's bonus information. The one without the commas needs the information. Which lady? Which old lady? The lady who lives in Iceland. Ah, that old lady. Or the barbershop that I go to. Which barbershop? The barbershop that I go to. Which one? The one that I go to. Oh, that one. Oh, that one. I see. That one. Got it. That one. Now this one. My barbershop. Okay, so we know which one. Which one? Mine. It's in the first part. We don't need it. Which is just a block from here. That's bonus information. Unnecessary to say it. We don't have to say it. Just want to add something, okay? So hopefully that's clear. Ugh. Hopefully that's clear. That's fun. Yeah, and if you guys want to watch that for 10 hours, well, then you're going to like my course. But it's so hard to make. Guys, making courses is the hardest thing in the world. It is so hard. It is so difficult to make it easy to understand. Luke, maybe next time after your grammar topic, we can do a quiz. That's interesting. Well, you know what? Why don't we do that? Why don't we do it now? So I feel very guilty for something. I announced a couple weeks ago that I was going to give away 2 coupons to one of the common expressions courses, and I forgot. And I've been thinking, oh God, I forgot to do it. I forgot to do that. I got to find a way to do that in a live class coming up soon. I got to do that. I kept forgetting. But maybe we can do that now. So let's try something. Let's do it. You guys, who wants to win a coupon for course? A free coupon. All right. Let's do it. Let's do it. We got to have the rules first though. All right. What I would like to do, if you would like a chance to win, and really the only thing I can do here is just choose 2 that I think are the best and most clear. So if there are more, I don't, we'll see. But I can give away 2. If you can make an example sentence that's a complete sentence, a full sentence, that is first the restrictive type and then the non-restrictive type, that makes the difference between them clear, then I will choose, if you can do both of those things, I'll choose 2 sets and we'll do a free coupon. So guys, start thinking about that, all right? Start thinking about your example sentences. Submit them and I will give away 2 coupons to 2 of you. And please guys, don't get very, very angry if you don't win one, because one guy, I just asked a quick question. Hey, which tower is that? And he answered second. I got his message second, and the other person answered first. So I gave the coupon to the other person. That person gave it to Lolly. But anyway, that guy said, okay, great, I will never talk to you again, and he unsubscribed. He was very upset because he didn't get chosen. Guys, don't get upset, okay? This is just to practice. And I said I was going to give away 2 coupons. I forgot. So let's do it now. Let's do it now. 1 restrictive type, 1 non-restrictive, that shows the difference between them. I should be able to read both of them and understand the difference between them. Sort of like what I just showed you just now. Both of my examples hopefully show the difference between them. Okay, I want to see if you can make your own. By the way, if you just copy mine and you're just replacing words and it's exactly my sentence, I'm not going to choose yours. Okay, I'm not going to choose yours. Okay. Anybody have any other? Did I miss any questions, guys? Let me scroll up and see. My ear is making a all today and yesterday. My ear has been making a weird, like a inside my ear. It's very strange. I think it's related to the cold I got. I'm still recovering from it. Shusha, so yeah, it's not up yet. I apologize. I said it was up, but it's not. It will be up soon. It should be up in tomorrow or the next day. I think it will be up, and I will post it on Facebook. I'll post it on Facebook. All of the clips that come out of the live streams, I post them on Facebook. So if you want to watch them again, you can. There should be one going up in 30 minutes. There will be one clip that will be posted in 30 minutes. Which one it is, I'm not sure. I can't remember. Sorry. The chair that is next to me is so pretty. Rich, which is my dog, is 5 years old. Okay. Yes, it's good. So if we say Rich is 5 years old, that we can understand that because we're looking at Rich there. The only thing I would say, Nectar, this is good, Nectar, but the only thing you have to change there is probably, we don't say which for pets. We'll say who for pets because Rich is your dog. He has a name, right? He's your pet. So the chair that is next to me is so pretty is fine, perfect, correct, 100%. Because it's the chair, so it's a thing. And then Rich, who is my dog, is 5 years old, is a good one. Okay, so we just changed that. Do you know that person A talked about with you last week is here today? Ooh, that one's close. Not quite right. Do you know that guy who A talked about with you last week is here today? So try again. First, I'm not sure what A is, and I think you need to add the word if to your sentences there. So try that one again. Nectar, yours are right grammatically. Keep working on that question mark. Try again. Lolly, I need 2 examples to consider yours. The baker that I buy bread, you need to add a word to your first example. The baker that I buy bread is open all the weekend. It's still not quite right. Got to work on that. What time is it in your country now? It is 6:03 p.m. 6:03. Probably late for some of you guys. Shusha, where are you? Where are you located? Rich, who is 5 years old, is my dog. All right, Nectar. All right, so Nectar, you not only have you come up with your first examples are good, you have given me another variation of that, which is also correct. Yeah. Or you could say Rich, who is my dog, is 5 years old, and that would be correct too. The interesting thing about those is you can sort of swap them out. Rich, who is my dog, is 5 years old. Rich, who's 5 years old, is my dog. Both of those work. The fat man, who is over there, should go on a diet. Good, Lolly. But can you please correct your other one? So Shusha, you qualify. I'm sorry, Nectar Sweet, you qualify. Lolly, you need to correct your first sentence. The baker that I buy bread is open all the weekend. Is not quite right. You need to add a preposition. You're missing a preposition, a very important preposition. Demon Slayer, which is my favorite manga, has became in the best-selling manga Japan. There is a manga that many people has been buying in Japan. But the second one there is not following the structure. The second one there is just a sentence. There is no, you've got to have the relative pronoun. You've got to have the pronoun there for the second one. So the second one is not quite right. The first one is following the right structure, but there's some grammatical issues with the last part of the structure. The best-selling manga Japan part is not so clear. Gertrude, the dog who is at my door, it is so cute. Nope. The dog at my front door is so cute. Nope. Not quite, Gertie. Sorry. Who's going to get number 2? We still have not had. One person has got a coupon. And it is Nectar Sweet. But so far, I haven't got any perfect ones yet. The dog who is at my door, it is so cute. There's an issue there. There's a thing happening there with that it. That's an issue. And also the dog at my door, we're trying to use the pronoun. So I get what you're doing there, but we still need to make a couple adjustments there. It's not quite right. This neighbor who lives nearby always makes a very loud noise. Okay. Yeah, that's right. Nectar Sweet, can you do me a favor? I need you to contact me privately and so that I can give you the coupon, okay? You know what? I'll just give you my email address. Can you email me? Just say, hey, this is Nectar Sweet. Give me my prize. and I will send it to you. That's my email, my personal email, okay? Please send me an email, and I will send you a coupon for free. What is the difference? My brother, who lives in Miami, is working in a hospital. Karina, perfect. But remember, to qualify, you need 2 perfectly correct examples. I only had one person so far who's given me 2 perfectly correct examples, and it is Nectar Sweet. So your first one is perfect. My brother, who lives in Miami, is working in a hospital. Perfect, 100%. Where's your second example? The shop that I do shopping in will be open in 15 minutes. That shop, which I met you yesterday in, is already closed. Oh, I think Art might have it. Guys, the shop that I do shopping in will be open in 15 minutes. That shop, which I met you yesterday in, is already closed. Okay, I think I have to give it to Art. So I want to go through everyone else's and explain where the issues are, just because I want to make sure it's clear why. But I want to mention one thing about Art's here. So Art, yours is grammatically correct, but that doesn't mean it's totally natural. So I'm going to give it to you because you are right. You gave me 2 examples that are grammatically correct, okay? So I'm going to give it to you. Also, send me an email. Say, hey, this is Art. Just email me personally, and I will send you a coupon. The thing that's weird about it is the shop that I do shopping in. Now, it's right, but it would be more common to say something like the shop that I go to every week, that I do shopping in, is just almost a little repetitive. It sounds a little strange. It's right. It's fine. It's correct. It just sounds a little weird. You might say something else that's a little more different to add the information, but it is correct. It is correct. Okay. Will be open in 15 minutes. And instead of saying will be open in 15 minutes, I would probably say opens in 15 minutes. Opens in 15 minutes. Okay. Then that shop, which I met you yesterday in, probably would be more natural to say which I met you in yesterday, which I met you in yesterday, is already closed. So you just want to change a couple things around, put in first, and then you're totally good and totally natural. Okay, so your examples are right, just a little weird using the do shopping thing, and then also you yesterday in should be in yesterday would be better. Okay. Do you know that person I talked about with you last week? Okay, so now question mark. Let's talk about yours. So Art and Nectar, you guys win because yours are right. Do you know that person I talked about yesterday with you last? Okay, so we have to add something. Do you know if that person I talked about with you last week is here today? We need to have an if there. Otherwise, people will feel confused about what it means. Do you know if that person I talked with you about last week is here today? Okay. Do you know if that guy who I talked about with you last week is here today? So this one doesn't quite work with the grammar. We have to be able to, for this one, make 2 separate sentences. We would say something like this. Do you know if that guy... Do you know... Yeah, okay. So that would work. Do you know if that guy who I talked with you about last week is here today? Would be okay. That would be all right. But again, we've got to have if there. Otherwise, it loses its meaning. The dog who is at my door is so cute. The dog at the door is so cute. So we want to have the... That's right, but we usually want to use the preposition for these, or the pronoun for these. The dog who is at my door is so cute. Perfect, 100%. That is correct. The dog at the door is so cute. Let's put one thing in between the dog and at. The dog, comma, or that little schnauzer, let's use a specific thing because we want to identify it with the subject should identify it. That little schnauzer, comma, who has been walking around my neighborhood for the past few weeks, comma, is so cute. That little schnauzer, comma, who's been walking around my neighborhood for the past few weeks, comma, is so cute. We identify in the subject, we identify what we're talking about. We should generally identify what we're talking about in the subject. That way, people can't ask the question, which one, after it. If it's the type where we use the commas, the type where we are adding bonus information, we need to know exactly which one. So if I say that little schnauzer, you know which one, I know which one, we both know, right? But if we just say the dog, then the next thing after the dog is going to have to be an identifying relative clause. We have to use that to say which dog we're talking about. And that's going to be the restrictive type, the type without the commas, if that makes sense. So the second sentence would need to be changed in order to fit the requirements. Rolfie says, congratulations to Art and Nectar Sweet. I would say congratulations to both of you as well. Send me an email, please. Sleepwalker, my first English lesson, which I learned, was informative. Okay, we need to have more information inside the relative clause. My first English lesson, which I took over a year and a half ago, was so informative. Got to have more information. Which I learned is not a complete thought. Not a complete thought. We need to have a complete thought inside of there, right? My first English lesson does identify it. Which English lesson? My first one. So that's perfect. Beautiful. Wonderful. Great. Correct. Which I maybe took, instead of learned, which I took in February of last year, we should be able to make a whole sentence out of that. I took my first English lesson in February of last year, right? Then we can add the information, was very informative. So the piece in the middle, the non-essential extra bonus information needs to be a complete thought. Which I learned is not a complete thought. That's the issue there. So you're close, but you just need to have that complete thought in between the two commas. My cat, which is cute and nervous, needs to go to the vet. Okay, because you said my cat, you've identified the cat already, which is cute and nervous. You could use which, I suppose. I would say who, because it's a personal thing. It's something that's close to you. Often for our pets, we use who. Needs to go to the vet. So this is a correct sentence. Very good, Karina. Very nice. I've never expected to kind of like this thing. The result, which from this paper is useful. Not quite. The results we got, comma, which turned out better than we expected, comma, are actually very useful. The results we got, comma, which turned out to be much better than expected, comma, are actually very useful. We need to have more information. And to be clear, the way to do this is to make two sentences. Both sentences begin with the subject that we're talking about. Maybe the results of the paper. That's the subject. The results of the paper turned out to be very useful. The results of the paper that we got last week. We got the results of the paper last week. We put those two sentences together, and then we can make the type where we're adding bonus information. But they have to be two complete thoughts, two complete ideas. My first English lesson, which I took 1 year ago, was very informative. Yes, now you got it. That's it. The dog who has a long tail at my door. Okay, so that who has a long tail at my door, that's a little confusing with the at my door part. The dog who has a long tail is so cute. Yes, you could, and again, I would recommend being a little more specific with the subject. The little, whatever type of dog, the little beagle from my neighborhood, comma, who has a long tail, comma, is so cute. Or which has a long tail is so cute. Okay? That would be a little more clear because you have the subject is identified. Which subject? If we just say the dog, it's not identified, and people might say, which dog? Which one? Right? If that makes sense. My coworker, so they're identified. my coworker, so that's good, who won employee of the month in February, comma, just died today. Jesus, Ralphie, that's depressing. I hope that's not true. I mean, it's a good sentence, but yikes. Either you make very morbid examples, or that's true, and in which case I'm so sorry for you. So sorry to hear that. Ralphie, is that true? Oh my God. All right, let's look at Lolly Lolly's, because she sent one earlier. I wanted to bring up hers really quickly. Lolly Lolly, the man who is over there should go on a diet. The fat man who is over there, the fat man. Which fat man? The fat man. So it's perfect. This one is perfect from Lolly Lolly. The fat man who is over there, where is he? He's over there. The fat man who is over there should go on a diet. That's right. But the other one Lolly Lolly said is missing something. The baker that I buy bread is open all weekend. Okay, so this is the one that needs some adjustment. The baker that I buy bread from, have to have from there because we have to have a preposition, right? There's some action going on there. The baker that I buy bread from, or the baker who I buy bread from, is open all weekend. We don't need the. So we take out the and we say buy bread from. Buy bread from. Okay? All of you guys, excellent examples. This is fun. All right. The English teacher who leaves who leaves? The English teacher who sniffs and coughs during live lessons on YouTube is named Luke. Yeah, probably named Luke. That's a good one. Yeah. How long will it take to be fluent in English? I think it's different for everybody. You know, some people get really good at it really quickly. Some people are much slower. It depends on your example. It depends on your, I read the word example. My eyes saw the word example and I said it, but I didn't mean to say that. It depends on your environment. It depends on how hard you work. So there is no good answer to that question. How long does it take? It takes as long as it takes. And it's different for everybody. Some people are smarter than other people. Some people pick things up more naturally than others. It's not easy to say. And some people, I would argue there are some people who can never because they don't have the right approach, even personality. That's a tough one to say, but that's true. I think there are some people who just can't be good at English no matter what happens. Well, Ralphie, that's dark, I gotta say. Dark stuff. The small Yorkie who has a long tail. The at my door thing shouldn't be inside the other one. The small Yorkie who has a long tail. See, if you say the small Yorkie who has a long tail at my door, the meaning of that is that he only has the long tail when he's at the door. And if he's not at the door, he doesn't have the tail, as though the tail disappears when he's not at the door, right? So that can be confusing. The small Yorkie with the long tail who is at my door is so cute. The small Yorkie at my door who has a long tail is so cute. Either of those two would be good, right? The small Yorkie with the long tail, comma, who is at my door, comma, is so cute. Or the small Yorkie at my door, comma, who has a long tail, comma, is so cute. Either one of those would be fine. Okay. All right, guys. I gotta go. My cold is kicking in. My throat is starting to hurt, so I'm going to call it a day for today, guys. But next week, we will do another one for sure. Thanks for sticking around. Lolly Lolly's still struggling, but it seems like your English is quite good, Lolly Lolly. Again, some people do better than others, and it's interesting to see. I did have one student, and it was quite remarkable. A student I knew who studied almost every day. This is rare, I would say, but who didn't improve at all in the 3-year period that I knew this student. I had a group class with this student maybe once a week, and this student was always sitting studying words. And she never improved. In 3 years, she didn't improve. It was 2 or 3 years, I forget, but it was a long time. She didn't improve at all. None. It was shocking to me. And I think part of it has to do with the outlook of thinking, if only I learn more words. If only I learn more words, I will be great. And what is this word in Chinese? And what is this word in Chinese? And what is this word in Chinese? The focus is wrong. The focus should be, let me just try. I'm just going to try. If I look silly, I don't care. I don't care. I'll just try. Try. The attitude of just constantly trying is a better attitude. And not, I must be ready. I must know more words, right? I would say that's more rare, though. But that was something that I will never forget. All right, guys. Thanks for joining. See you next time. I'm going to be putting out another video of my friends in China who sent me some videos of their experiences. So it's going to be a bit of a different video this week, but should be interesting. And she was motivated. She was just doing the wrong things, I think, and had the wrong approach. So I'll see you guys next week, and don't forget to join the Facebook group. Hit like, subscribe if you haven't subscribed, and courses. Check out my courses. Let's see if I got an email from Art, and I have got Art's email, but I don't have yet an email from Nectar. Nectar, you got to send me an email. I can't give you the coupon unless you email me. Got to email me. Email me. Art already has. All right. All right, guys. See you next time. See you next time. Bye.